I'm not gonna lie, it's not that easy to balance work and family, especially when you put 100% into each. In my case, like many other working parents, the weekend is key to pressing the reset button at home. I like to say that my work and education is my purpose, and home and family is my passion. And how do I share that passion? Mostly through the food I cook and serve. It's the easiest way to say I love you. It's my favorite way to just slow down and check in with my soul and spirit. So let's put on our aprons and get into the kitchen. I'm SB, and this is SB Living. After I leave work and the kids are picked up, I always announce it's Friday, and my family knows exactly what that means. For us, it's more than just the start of the weekend. Fridays are in and out of themselves, an opportunity to tuck in at home, rest and reflect, like a sunset of the week. And I try to get all the main laundry started as soon as I get home, a job that I'm happy to say I've successfully trained my oldest kids to start doing. It's also time to get all the remaining dishes and lunch boxes in the dishwasher, which I don't use that often, so it's like a little treat that I give myself. We eat lighter on Fridays, usually a mix of leftover vegetables from the week and sometimes some sort of fish. It's a Catholic tradition to engage in some sort of fasting on Fridays, though many really focus on that practice during Lent, which is actually coming up pretty soon. In our family, we aim to stick to vegetables and fish on Fridays, not fasting in a way to limit what we eat, but more so to be more intentional with our food and our time together. It's a practice you'll find in many old world families like the one I grew up in. If there was any reason to commemorate any event, food was at the center of it. So for this particular Friday, I'm preparing a dish that you'll find not just in Catholic tradition, but in Jewish and Israeli traditions as well. It makes total sense because so much of these traditions are intertwined, which I love, and have also developed from the same cultural areas. You'll find many versions of Moroccan fish, and mine almost always features whole red snapper. I buy them frozen in bulk and enjoy cooking whole fish much more than fillets. Before I get going on the fish, I need to get all the vegetables ready to go. The base is made of onions, peppers, garlic, tomatoes, and a bunch of spices. I use paprika, cumin, turmeric, and chili powder. Depending on your taste, you can make this spicier or smokier, or use your favorite herbs. You really can't go wrong. I love adding some chickpeas to the mix just to bulk it up, and then it's just a matter of letting it simmer down until I add the fish. I prefer crusty bread with Moroccan fish only because it can soak up a lot of the sauce. Bread and fish go hand in hand for me, especially if it's a chunk of sourdough that I had made. You really must try to eat this dish with your hands, not just because it's more fun, but those tiny fish bones, it's just better to use your hands. It may look pretty dark at the moment, but it's actually a few hours after I normally rise during the week. It's around 7 a.m. on this foggy and rainy Saturday, a good 3 hours after my usual wake-up time. The quiet of the early morning can be so precious. There's no kids running around, games or music playing, no errands to run. It's when I take my time to make coffee and sip away while I do my morning readings. I've been experimenting with different coffee preparations, and I'm almost sad to say that Nescafe instant coffee is what's working for me right now. My grandparents probably just rolled over in their graves. I'm not grinding my own beans or putting the mocha pot on, though it's so good. I just need quick and easy coffee most mornings, so here I am. Frothed milk makes it a bit more special, and that's it. That's my regular everyday morning coffee, best enjoyed in my favorite seat in the house, the corner couch. A bit later in the morning, I take some time to do the essential wipe downs of the bathrooms. You just cannot ignore that when you have a family of 5. The same goes with the bed sheets and anything else that attracts sweat and drool. We had just all recovered from a round of stomach flu at this point, so I was itching to get all the bed items and cuddlies in a hot wash cycle. I don't do this every week, just as needed, but it will essentially take the entire day. It's interesting how once you start to strip things down to clean, you just cannot help yourself. You end up taking a rag, cleaning everything else, desks, tables, counters, cabinets, you name it. So when the mood hits, why not get it all done, right? The mood seemed to match the weather on this particular day too, but it was incredibly mild for a winter day. Perfect for hanging up the laundry to dry in the wind. There may be some truth to this, but my grandmothers always believed that air-dried laundry gets naturally disinfected. The air cleans it through and through, I guess, according to them. So true or not, I choose to believe it, at least because the fresh scent has to be a testament to that fact. It's one of the best aromas in the world. So this concept of a weekend to get everything done, I'm not even sure how real that is. I've heard of people say, I'll get it all done in one day. I'll get it all done on the weekend. Who are these people? I've never met them. They're not me. And so when I think about these full weekends that we have at home, these times when we just need to literally get everything done, do we really? And it's okay. I'm here to tell you, you're never gonna get it done. And sometimes that makes us feel terrible. Sometimes that makes us feel like we're not doing enough. But really, all you need to worry about is that you're doing enough. And enough is enough. There's this concept that I learned a long time ago that there is never gonna be enough time to do anything. And it was pretty freeing to surrender to that fact that you're just never gonna have enough time. I thought I was busy before. I'm busy now, and it's just a different season of life. And that's what this channel is all about, right? Just embracing that we have busy moments, we have slow moments, we have quiet moments, we have chaotic moments, and it's all just part of the day to day. And embrace it, because these seasons of life you're going to miss at some point. And I haven't really appreciated that until recently. I no longer have babies in the house. You might, but I don't. And when I think back on those times, it's really true. You miss those times. You miss times that maybe at the time you thought was really stressful, but here we are thinking about how great that was. So on a typical weeknight during the week, I have 3 hours to get everything done. That's from coming through the door, cooking dinner, looking at homework, doing an emergency chore or errand, shower, bath, getting the kids in bed, and then it's time for me to get in bed. And come to think of it, I really need to figure out how to put in some workouts at that point. That's important. And so when I think about the time that we have during the week versus the time on the weekend, it's not that I can get more things done, it's that I have more time, flexibility. I do work on the weekend sometimes. There's always an event to go to all the time, but there's more flexibility. And when there's flexibility, you just take advantage of that. It might mean that I have to say no to some things, but don't we all, right? It's just where we are and how we're trying to balance everything. But it's also about what makes you feel good. So if being a homebody makes you feel good, honey, do what you do. If making sure that you have some time to go out to do something that makes you feel really at peace with yourself, then do that. Everyone has their routine. So find the routine that's right for you and embrace it. And again, if you're just doing what you can at the moment, then you're doing exactly what's enough for you. So whatever season of life you're in right now, I wish you all the best, and I wish you all the peace and love this week. Now let's get back to the video. Lunches on these slow Saturdays are easy to make because I always follow a simple rule. Use up what needs to be cooked before the weekly grocery shop the following day. And for this afternoon, it was a whole basket of tomatoes, which I made a quick marinara sauce to toss some ravioli in. It's the best kind of lunch. Once the day gets going, I don't really have a lot of quiet time, but I do try to organize what is left to be done. I'm a planner type of girl at heart, so every few hours I have to check something off the to-do list, even if it's just a moment to find some more motivation to finish whatever else needs to be done. And making the beds is one of them. It always needs to be a bit of a pep talk in my head in order to do this. I could decide to be annoyed about it or accept the fact that at least in this season of life, I'm the one to do it. It won't be forever though. My girls are growing up. They'll one day be able to manage these mattresses by themselves. And just like they can do the laundry right now, it's all part of the bigger picture that we just can't lose sight of. The goal for Saturday night is similar to Friday night, cozy, simple, and easy. I'm putting these chicken cutlets in the oven with some sweet potatoes, better than frying it up. I might as well just use one appliance instead of two. We call these cotoletta, and again, it's a basic recipe that you can pair with anything in season. The main recipe is on my blog, and just follow the same breading instructions, and you can either fry it in a non-stick pan or pop it in the oven. It's hardly a recipe, it's so simple. When it comes to cooking meals, there's a lot of inspiration I draw from. It's equal parts family recipes and feast day inspiration. I spend quite some time planning meals around which feast day it is, and if you don't know what I mean, I'm referring to the major and minor feast days that occur during the Catholic year. It's often called the liturgical calendar. People already associate specific meals and treats for some of the most popular feast days, like corned beef and cabbage for St. Patrick's Day, or lamb for Easter. And wouldn't you know that most of these recipes are not just for celebrating the life of the saint itself, but also the culture or country that has historical roots in that particular feast day. In a more domestic spin on this practice, many traditional Catholic households prepare food not just for family meals, but also as an act of connection and reflection for that day's feast. For example, on this particular Saturday, we had celebrated the feast of St. Fabian and St. Sebastian, two men who were protectors of the faith and also their people. They interceded in times of illness and controversy until they died for doing that very same work. It's a simple thing to do to commit oneself to protecting your family and community, but at times pretty difficult to maintain. And just thinking on that idea while preparing this simple meal is a reminder that true peace isn't found in grand acts, but in the little things you do every day to nourish yourself and those around you. Sweet potatoes are a staple in the kitchen. They're so versatile. Tonight, I'm tossing them with some brown sugar and nutmeg, and instead of olive oil, which I always use, I'm coating them in some melted butter. It's my version of candied yams. To finish off the meal, I'm also preparing a bowl of couscous, which is our favorite. Plus, it takes no time to cook. It just has to sit in hot water to fluff up. And all of this on a Saturday night is definitely the easiest path towards contentment. Sundays are a different kind of busy. We take the morning very slow, head to church, get some groceries on the way back, and then it's cooking Sunday dinner and preparing for the week ahead. We have settled into a routine of Jamaican suppers on Sundays with either myself or my father-in-law cooking it up. I've been learning, and if you've watched a recent video of mine, you know that my first attempt at oxtails turned into more of an ossobuco stew. I have since redeemed myself though, and I owe it all to the spice blends and seasonings from the Jamaican spot. Why replicate it when it's already there for you to have, right? I've come to learn that the basic process for Jamaican stews and curries are to season the meat well beforehand with lots of fresh ingredients, and then cook it long and slow, ideally in an old pot or a caldero. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. Oxtails tossed with spices and onions and garlic and ginger and tomatoes. After a few hours in the marinade, it gets browned in the pot and then simmered down. Browning is like a molasses that gives the oxtails that rich, deep brown color with a bit of sweetness, which is offset by the smooth butter beans that I'll add at the end. And that's it. A scoop of oxtails with a mound of rice is a beautiful way to celebrate a Sunday and the end of a restorative and peaceful weekend at home. Subscribe, like, and comment for more content like this one. See you next time.